So drizzle stitch now. So I've pulled up my thread from the back and I've taken it off the needle now. And what we're going to do is pop this needle in just next to where I came up. So if you have got a knot, just be careful that's not pushing as if it's going to go through that knot. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my thread and I'm going to wrap it over my finger like this. So we are taking the thread over our finger and looping it under there like this. Then going to pop it onto the needle and pull it down. And then I'll wrap it over my finger again so that the thread goes over my finger there and then comes up. And then again, I slide that onto the needle. So you can just sort of just twist it on like that, but it's easier probably to take it over your finger and then pop it down like this and slide it down the needle. So we're actually doing, it does look like a cast on stitch or kind of like a blanket stitch, if you like, onto the needle. So you can do as many as you like on there. I'm going to just start with 6. And again, don't make it so it slides on and it's not loose, but you don't want it pulling so tight you sort of couldn't move the stitches up and down the needle. So once we've wrapped as many as we would like to try there onto the needle, you're going to re-thread up the needle. So just be careful not to pull out your needle out of the fabric. So I'm going to thread that up. So I've threaded the needle back up and I am now going to pull it through those stitches. So you don't want to pull so hard that it pulls all of those through, but you're now easing. So if you just keep your thumb on it, perhaps, pull it so it pulls through the middle of those stitches and through to the back like that. And then you can tie it off and it's now not anchored on this end. So it almost looks like a 3D kind of blanket stitch. Okay, so I'll go over that again. I've pulled my thread up from the back, poked my needle through and unthreaded it. I'm now taking it over my finger and then just sliding it onto the needle. And then under and over my finger and round and onto the needle. Under and over, onto the needle. Under and over and onto the needle. Oops, slipped off there. You could make these really long and add 12 or so on. So push those down the needle there and I'll just thread it up again. So now I've threaded up my needle, I'm now going to push it through the stitches that I've wrapped around the needle and gently, again, just holding with my thumb to ease it through. And again, just pulling it to the point that it stops at the top of those stitches there. If I kept pulling, it would sort of pucker it down to the bottom. So then I will tie it off at the back and you've got these little, they look almost a little bit twisted, these drizzle stitches. So again, have a go at adding maybe 12 onto your needle as well, but they can look nice as a nice contrast next to the bullion knots because they're held flat and they're 3D, those ones.